Welcome to the Mismatch. I'm Chris Vernon, and joining me on this Monday night from TheRinger.com is Kevin O'Connor, a.k.a. Kevin O'Bomber, Kevin O'Conflict, Kevin O'Candyland, Kevin O'Blizzarian, Kevin O'Sphere, Kevin!
Berno! What an amazing night of basketball, dude. That was incredible.
Amazing night of basketball.
Amazing.
We will get to the Knicks 76ers in our second segment, but we've got to start with the game that we just watched, which was a Jamal Murray dagger puts the Nuggets up 2-0 on the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers had at one point a 20-plus point lead in this game. Not enough, as they were still up 10 going into the fourth, but lose that fourth quarter by 11 as Jamal Murray hits an unbelievable playoff game winner to do the Lakers in. And now it was 101-99 was the final. Outscored 32-20 in the fourth quarter. And so now that series is 2-0, and if the Lakers were to be able to move on in the playoffs, they're going to have to beat the Denver Nuggets 4 out of the next 5 times. Seems like a big task, Kev.
Good luck. They needed that one. The game turned in the third quarter when the Nuggets changed up their defensive scheme. They went to Jokic on Rui, KCP on LeBron James, and then Aaron Gordon on Anthony Davis. Lakers were up 17 midway through the third quarter. Nuggets made that switch, and that's where it just felt like the Lakers offense became discombobulated end of the third quarter all the way through the fourth quarter, where they weren't getting quality shots anymore. They weren't able to go to the LeBron AD pick and roll, which was so effective. That on top of the fact that it just felt like AD ran out of steam. On defense, you also saw Darvin Ham put AD off of Jokic at one point. You put him on Aaron Gordon and went back to Rui on Jokic, which we know doesn't work, having AD roam. So I wonder if AD ran out of steam. He started missing shots, and we do know LeBron did at the end of the third quarter. He had a stretch at the end of the third quarter where he had a turnover, definitely a fatigue foul. Then the start of the fourth, he had a missed shot at the rim, and then he had another foul. He was gassed, immediately went out of the game. So for LeBron and AD, we're talking about some of the things that didn't happen for them down the stretch, and yet those guys were amazing for the Lakers, and yet you don't win the game. They are defending the best players on the Nuggets. At the end of the game, it's LeBron on Murray and AD on Jokic. They're the guys leading the way for them all throughout the game. LeBron on defense with blocks, effort, taking a charge in the first 3 minutes of the game. AD not missing a single shot, and yet you still lose the game. The Lakers couldn't have asked for any more from their best players, and yet it still wasn't enough.
Well, they could have asked for a little more, and
yeah, a little bit more, man. But it's a lot to ask when you got all that.
Okay, but Kevin, I'll have to go back and check. Forget scoring. I don't think Anthony Davis touched the basketball in the fourth quarter. I don't think he ever touched it. I don't think anyone ever passed it to him. The one attempt was D'Angelo Russell, which got him taken out of the game. Just an insane attempt to pass, like a hook shot pass, like for an alley-oop. I don't think he touched the ball in the fourth quarter. Their offense was absolutely abysmal. And honestly, it took until the very end for Denver to take that lead. Denver was getting every shot they wanted on the offensive end. And the Lakers, it starts off, it's like a buzzer-beating 3 from Taurean Prince. Then LeBron hit those 2 threes from the top of the key. Other than that, that was like all they had for the first 6.5 minutes of that fourth quarter. And then of course, some other guys hit some shots down the stretch. You had Russell hit one, you had Reeves hit one, and LeBron had his drive and also his steal and his dunk. So, they rallied together 20 points in the quarter, but I do not remember a time where Anthony Davis touched the basketball in the fourth quarter. It's unfathomable to me.
And the fact that they still went into a dead stretch on offense where AD's not getting those touches, as you said, I do think is in part a knock on him, where he leaves the game, he still got 2 timeouts. He still got a challenge. He didn't make adjustments to that defensive scheme change that the Nuggets made. This, again, there's a report earlier today that the expectation is that Ham would be back as Lakers head coach next season. They're not going to go anywhere with Darvin Ham as their head coach. They're just not. He does not make in-game adjustments the way the best coaches in the league do. And I thought that was an example in the fourth quarter tonight where just a simple tweak back to something that we've already seen the Nuggets do before. The Lakers did not have a counterpunch to that. Third quarter, they force-fed it to 80 a little bit, but they did not go back to that at all in the fourth. I think this is, again, in part on Ham, but also, like I said, I do think 80 ran out of steam. He did seem tired towards the end of that third quarter.
In fairness to Darvin Ham, though, Kevin, LeBron James has a 3 at the top of the key to win that game. He misses it. Jamal Murray hits one, fading away with Anthony Davis like in his face. I mean,
of course, but you mentioned like 80 not getting a touch on the fourth. I'm just responding to that specific point.
And their offense was just abysmal. They didn't get anything good. I mean, they got a couple drives here and there, a couple kickouts, but that was a rough go in that fourth quarter, and it felt like, man, you're going to need a lot more than a 10-point lead because Jokic turned up, and Murray, who had a total dud of a game and dud of a series thus far for his standards, makes a couple of the mid-range shots down the stretch and then hits that massive game winner. And obviously we're burying the fact that Nikola Jokic, who we should not be tired of doing the incredible, but it's now X minutes into this podcast before we're even mentioning that they had a graphic that he had a 20, 20, and 10 game, and that had been done in the history of the NBA by Kevin Garnett once, and it had been done by Tim Duncan once, and it had been done by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar once, and it'd be done by Dave Cowens once, and it has now been done by Jokic 4 times.
Jokic is the best player in the world, man. He proves it time and time and time again that he is the best player on the planet.
How about the blender he put AD in down the stretch for the and one? Oh my
beautiful.
God.
Dude, he is. It just feels like with Denver, because of Jokic, they are just inevitable that they're going to come. How many Lakers Nuggets games have followed the same script where the Lakers have a lead at some point in the second half and then the Nuggets just storm back and build a lead on their own? And granted, this one goes to the final buzzer, but that's in part due to Jokic and what he does to you, where he just makes perfect decisions on the floor. He does not make mistakes. And even sometimes where things, slip up a little bit, like in the play after LeBron had this amazing steal, a strip on Murray at the end of the shot clock, and then he has a slam in transition, and then Jokic brings the ball up the floor, and he kind of looks like he tried to draw a foul on a 3, and it kind of was an awkward play. Gordon saved it from going out of bounds. But like even when it doesn't go right somehow for Jokic, it still does, because eventually a ball finds it in MPJ's hands. He ties it with a 3. After that LeBron moment, it felt like things might be swinging back to the Lakers, but somehow even for Jokic, when things aren't exactly as planned, they still seem to work out. The dude's remarkable. I cannot get over that guy.
That shot that you just mentioned, that is a massive shot by Michael Porter Jr.
Dude, it massive really was. Shot. I mean, he himself had a really strong game too. I mean, he was great. And 8 of 13 from the floor for the Nuggets.
Well, and we talk so much throughout these playoffs about like the other guys in the series. There was a ton of energy. KCP gave him a lot in that third quarter. Christian Brown, great minutes. Obviously, he left those 2 free throws out there that he missed, but just doing all that energy stuff, we wondered who's going to be the guys this year that do the Jeff Green stuff, that do the Bruce Brown stuff, like those ancillary parts, and who's going to be doing it. And, we saw it tonight. That's a nip-tuck game, and you get some winning plays from Peyton Watson. You get some winning plays from Christian Brown. Those were the only 2 guys that even got you a bucket off the bench today. But on the other side, the Lakers got literally nothing off of their bench. You got Taurean Prince hitting those 2 threes. That's it, Kev. Nothing out of
Yep,
Vincent.
yep.
Nothing out of Dinwiddie. Nothing out of Jackson Hayes.
Yep, that's my point earlier when I said you got everything you could ask for out of old man LeBron James and AD.